The world of the 14th century was a place of great change. It was a world of shifting sands and shifting powers. In Central Asia, the great Mongol Empire of Genghis Khan was a fading memory. His vast domain had shattered into pieces. Khanates ruled by his descendants fought among themselves. The Silk Road, once a river of commerce and ideas, was now a dangerous path. Caravans moved with fear. Cities that had once shone like jewels were now shadows of their former selves. There was no single unifying force, just a collection of tribes and warlords, each vying for a small piece of a broken legacy. A power vacuum had opened up in the heart of the world. Into this chaotic landscape, a new kind of world was waiting to be born. The people of the steppes and the great cities were weary of conflict. They longed for stability. His name was Timur. Later, his enemies would call him Timuri Lang, or Timur the Lame, because of an injury that left him with a limp. But no one would dare say it to his face. He was born in 1336 near the city of Kesh, south of Samarkand. He was not a direct descendant of Genghis Khan, a fact that mattered a great deal in that world. He came from the Barlas tribe, a Turco-Mongol clan that had settled in the region. From a young age, he showed signs of something different. He was intelligent. He was charismatic, and he possessed a will of iron and a boundless ambition that set him apart from all others. Timur did not inherit a kingdom. He had to build one from scratch. He started as a minor leader, a small-time chieftain in a world full of them. He gathered a band of loyal followers, drawn to his strength and his promises of glory and riches. He was a master of strategy, both on the battlefield and in the complex world of tribal politics. He knew when to fight and when to make alliances. With Central Asia now firmly in his grasp, Timur looked beyond his borders. The world was ripe for the taking. He began a series of military campaigns that would last for the next 35 years. These were not small raids. They were massive, meticulously planned invasions that would stretch from India to the Mediterranean Sea. His ambition was breathtaking. The Timurid army was a terrifyingly effective machine. It was built on the model of the Mongol hordes, with a core of highly disciplined mounted archers. But Timur added his own innovations. He incorporated siege engineers, infantry, and even war elephants captured from his campaigns in India. The expansion was relentless. Timur first secured his immediate surroundings, marching into Persia and Mesopotamia. One by one, the great cities fell: Isfahan, Baghdad, Damascus. His empire grew with terrifying speed. It was an empire forged in the heat of battle, built on the foundations of conquered kingdoms and fallen cities. Timur's campaigns were legendary for their scale and their brutality. He did not just defeat armies, he annihilated them. He made examples of cities that dared to resist him. The stories of pyramids of skulls built outside the walls of conquered cities served as a grim warning to others. In Isfahan, after a rebellion, his soldiers were ordered to bring back a quota of heads, resulting in a massacre of tens of thousands. One of his most significant conflicts was with the Ottoman Sultan, Bayezid I. Bayezid was a powerful ruler in his own right, known as the Thunderbolt. In 1402, the two great conquerors met at the Battle of Ankara. It was a clash of titans. Timur, with his superior numbers and brilliant tactics, outmaneuvered the Ottoman forces. He utterly crushed Bayezid's army, and in a stunning turn of events, captured the Sultan himself. Another major campaign took him deep into the lands of the Golden Horde. His rival, Toktamish, a one-time protégé, had dared to challenge him by invading Timurid lands. Timur's response was devastating. He pursued Toktamish across the vast Eurasian steppe, fighting a series of battles that culminated in the utter destruction of the Golden Horde's major cities, including its capital, Sarai. Timur was more than just a conqueror, he was also a builder. While his armies brought destruction abroad, he funneled the immense wealth of his conquests back to his capital. He wanted Samarkand to be the center of the world, a jewel of a city that would astound all who saw it. He forcibly relocated the most skilled artisans, architects, scientists, and scholars from the lands he conquered. This fusion of styles, sponsored by imperial wealth, sparked an incredible cultural flowering known as the Timurid Renaissance. The architecture of the Timurid period is one of its most visible and honestly breathtaking legacies. Grand mosques, madrasas, and mausoleums rose across the empire, especially in Samarkand and Herat. The Gure Amir, Timur's own mausoleum in Samarkand, and the magnificent Registan Square were born from his vision. Science and knowledge also flourished under Timurid rule. His grandson, Ulugh Beg, was one of the greatest astronomers of the medieval world. In Samarkand, Ulugh Beg built a massive observatory, a 3-story marvel of engineering. There, he and his team of scientists meticulously mapped the stars. The arts of the book reached new heights of perfection. Workshops in cities like Herat produced some of the most beautiful illuminated manuscripts the world has ever seen. The death of Timur in 1405 threw the massive empire into turmoil. An empire built on the personal charisma and military genius of one man is always fragile when that man is gone. Timur had named a successor, his grandson Pir Muhammad, but his other sons and grandsons had their own armies and their own ambitions. The moment the news of his death became public, a fierce civil war erupted. Out of this chaotic struggle, Timur's youngest son, Shah Rukh, eventually emerged as the new supreme ruler. But his style of rule was very different from his father's. He moved the capital from Samarkand to the city of Herat, in modern-day Afghanistan. Where Timur was a nomadic conqueror who reveled in war, Shah Rukh was a statesman and a diplomat. He was a devout Muslim who sought to rule through justice and Islamic law rather than through terror. Even under Shah Rukh, the empire was not truly unified. He allowed other Timurid princes like his own son Ulugh Beg to govern vast territories as semi-independent rulers. Ulugh Beg ruled Transoxiana from Samarkand, where he focused on his scientific pursuits. The challenges were immense. External threats were ever present. In the west, the Ottomans began to recover. In the east, nomadic Uzbek tribes began to press down from the northern steppes. The death of Shah Rukh in 1447 marked the beginning of the end. His own son, the brilliant astronomer Ulugh Beg, tried to take control of the entire empire. But while he was a genius of the stars, he was not a skilled politician or a ruthless commander like his grandfather. After a short and troubled reign, he was overthrown and tragically assassinated in 1449, an order given by his own rebellious son. The murder of such a great scholar was a dark stain on the dynasty. After Ulugh Beg's death, the Timurid Empire fractured permanently. It broke apart into several competing successor states, each ruled by a different Timurid prince. The two main centers of power were Samarkand in Transoxiana and Herat in Khorasan. For the next 50 years, the history of the Timurids is a sad tale of endless internal conflict. Princes fought against their brothers, uncles, and cousins for control of cities and provinces. The main threat came from the north. A confederation of Turkic tribes, known as the Uzbeks, had been united under the leadership of a charismatic and ambitious leader named Muhammad Shaybani Khan. While the Timurid princes were busy fighting each other, Shaybani Khan was patiently building his strength. By the turn of the 16th century, the Uzbeks were unstoppable. As the 15th century drew to a close, the Timurid world was living on borrowed time. The last great ruler, Sultan Hussein Baikara of Herat, presided over a court of astonishing cultural brilliance. It was a final, beautiful glow before the darkness fell. But this cultural flowering could not mask the terminal political and military weakness of the state. They were like a magnificent ancient tree, hollowed out from the inside and ready to fall at the first strong gust of wind. That wind came from the north, in the form of Muhammad Shaybani and his Uzbek warriors. The city of Bukhara fell. Then, the greatest prize of all, Samarkand, was captured in 1501. The loss of Timur's legendary capital was a devastating blow. In 1507, he conquered Herat, bringing the last major Timurid state to an end. The empire that Timur had built with fire and sword had quietly faded away. One of the last Timurid princes to resist was a young man named Babur. Driven south from his home, Babur did not give up. He turned his gaze towards India. In 1526, with a small but determined army, he invaded the subcontinent and won a stunning victory at the Battle of Panipat. He established a new empire there, one that would become known to history as the Mughal Empire. Though the Timurid Empire itself is long gone, its legacy is etched into the very soul of Central Asia. You can see it today in the magnificent blue-domed monuments of Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva. The Registan Square, the Gur-e-Amir, and the Shah-e-Zinda necropolis are not just historical relics. They are living testaments to a time of incredible artistic and architectural ambition. They defined a style so powerful that it influenced the great mosques of Iran, the palaces of the Ottomans, and the tombs of Mughal India, like the Taj Mahal. The cultural and scientific achievements of the era left an indelible mark. The works of the Timurid observatories, particularly Ulugh Beg's star charts, were a vital link in the chain of knowledge, connecting the ancient Greeks to the European Renaissance. Today, Timur is a national hero in Uzbekistan. He is seen as the father of the nation, a symbol of strength, pride, and cultural achievement. The Timurid Empire was a bridge between the medieval Mongol world and the early modern era of great Islamic gunpowder empires. It was a period of intense conflict, but also of unparalleled artistic and scientific brilliance. It was an empire that, for a brief but dazzling moment, made Central Asia the cultural and political center of the entire world, leaving behind echoes that still resonate today.